So we're getting a good portion into the school year at this point. It's October 6th when I'm filming this. So we've been in school for about a month. The biggest thing about being at the new school is they don't have student email accounts. So at the old school, every student had a Gmail account. So they all had Drive, they all had Docs, Sheets, Slides, all of it. Google Classroom. The new school does not do that. The teachers use Google, but the students use in-curriculum email system that doesn't compute with Google because it's not a real email. So it gets a little dicey when they're trying to submit work. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 4 different ways students can submit work and how I figured out how to get them to do it without having Google emails. Let's go. Too excited though, please give this video a big thumbs up down below. It helps others find this content. Also consider subscribing if you are not, so you stay up to date with all of my latest videos. I post every Sunday at 9 a.m. Now, let's get into submitting work. On my screen here, you just see a blank slides document with ways to turn things in. So that's how we're gonna go through this order. First up, if your school can do it, just use Google Classroom. Honestly, just use it. It's the best way to get copies of assignments to students so that it gets labeled with their name, so then you could give them feedback on it. Just use that. I did so many videos on Google Classroom because I love it so much. I will link that playlist up here for you guys in case you want to check that out. So let's go to the shared folder option. Shared folder here. If we go into your Drive, and let's just say I created a new folder here, and we'll name it Weathering Project. Create. Okay, so then here's my folder. If I right-click it, I can get a link to it. Only people who can add it can open with this link. So if you are just distributing it to a bunch of students, I would go with anyone with the link. Or if your students have a school email, you could keep it within your organization. But if you leave it as restricted, then you'd have to specifically email or add people in groups, which would be very tedious. So change it to anyone with the link, copy, and then you could link it here. Also, my favorite shortcut, let's go highlight, thank you. Control K brings up that hyperlink box, Control V to paste, there we go. So then if I were to click this, it takes me to this Weathering Project folder. Then let's do the Google form. So I'm gonna go back to Drive, I'm gonna go to this Weathering Project, and I'm just gonna make a Google form here. So, new, Google form. Oh my gosh, this mouse is killing me right now. Okay, blank form. Create and share. So then here I could just say Weathering Project upload. Please upload your project here. Click there because it'll then duplicate the title. Okay. This form is collecting emails. So you can turn that off, but it requires sign in usually, which is not ideal. Because if your kids don't have a Google account, then they have to make one, which it's free to do. But some schools are like, you can't make them have a Google account, which is like, okay, fine, okay. So let's go here, and then you can just change this kind of question to a file upload. Please upload your file here. And then you can change file type. So like if you only want Google Docs, you could do that. Number of files, all of that. You can view the folder here. So if I were to click it, thank you. Okay, so it's in this weathering project folder. This is the title of the form, and this would be the upload folder. So if you had multiple uploads in there, it would separate them out into folders for you, which is really nice. Okay, so let's go back here. That's required. If you're gonna do this, I would always also have a short answer for their name, because my experience has been that kids don't always remember to put their name on it. So at least have this required too, so you have a backup log of whatever it might be. Okay, so then we're gonna hit send, copy this link, and then we'll put it here. Control K for the link, Control V to paste. Click this, and then we're at the view version. Got it. I've opened the form, and you'd see it already has my account up here. If you go to switch account, it's still gonna make you sign in with some kind of Google account, even though it's not collecting email addresses. That's kind of the problem with Google. It wants an email address so it can figure out a name, so it can label it when it puts stuff in there. So let me just write sample, and then we'll just add a random file and I'll show you. Select a file from my device. Here, we'll open this thumbnail image. Upload. Okay, so I'm gonna hit submit on this file, on this form, excuse me. All right. I could submit another response, but let's go to here. You see the title here? This is last week's thumbnail, but you see the title, it automatically put my name at the end of it, which is nice for your file upload form, so kids, you know, always have their name attached to a document, but it makes them sign in with email even though we turned off that button. So if that's gonna be a problem for your school, you're gonna need to go to option 4, which I also had to figure out earlier this week. Okay, so let's go to Jot Form. Jot Form is a free form website where you can do file uploads. This is their homepage. You can get a free account. You are a little bit limited in how many forms can be submitted, but here it is. So if you get the starter membership, you can do 5 forms. You can have 100 monthly submissions, and then it gives you more details here. If you're only gonna use this for a few things, this will do the trick. If you need to have something like this for every day, something needs to be submitted to you, Google Classroom is gonna be your thing. If they still don't allow it, your curriculum probably has something where they can submit things to you. If that doesn't work, you might have to have students email you, or you might have several accounts of these things so you can collect things all the time. So I'm at the starter, and let's go to my forms, and I'll show you how to make some of these. So create form, and then I'm just gonna use a template because why work harder when you can work smarter? Let's pick, I just want like a file upload form. Can I search? Ah, here we go. I liked this one. So you could preview it so you can look at all of the things on here. And I don't need all of this, and I'm gonna show you how to edit it. So let's hit use template. So then we can add form elements, and then it gives us all these options of things to fill in. So even appointments you could do with this if you really wanted to. But we're just doing a simple file upload here. So I'm gonna click on this email part, and I'm gonna remove that. I also wanna remove this file types because it's honestly not important to me. I'm going to upload files, name, and message. That looks good to me. I'm gonna retitle this Weathering Project. Okay, so let's go settings because we like the build of this. Also, you can change like the colors, the color scheme, the font, all that stuff over here, in case you wanted to do that. Enter a form, name, Weathering Project. Form status is enabled, emails. It is sent to send me an email when I get a response. Also, this one goes to the uploader. We have received your response for, and then it shows all the stuff that they did. So that's kind of your like feedback email, so kids don't bother you like, I'm Miss Ludy, I sent it in 12 times, did you get it? This email saves you from that. Conditions, in case you would like to do that. Don't do that. Thank you page, I'm leaving that as it is. That works for me. All right, integrations. This is where you're gonna wanna link your drive if that's what you wanna put in here. So Google Drive, authenticate. That just means connect the things, and it's gonna ask you for permissions here on this screen. Allow it to do all those things. Allow. Okay, so this is gonna create a folder here for you. Complete integration. Finish. So let's look at preview form. This is what it's gonna look like for the kiddos. All right, and publish. So copy link, and we'll put it in here. Control K, V. Here we go. And then when we go there, this is the form we get. So let me do sample 2. I'm gonna choose a different file this time so we know it's different. Other thumb, yeah. Submit. My submission has been received. So let's go to my email first to check out what that submission would look like. So in my email, I have this, and it's that ping that I submitted, which is this. If you click on that, it'll download though. So that's annoying. Here we go. Here's that thumbnail that I uploaded. That was 2 weeks ago. Okay, so let's go to Drive. So this one here is the one that was made by Jot Forms. I know that because this one has a person on it, which means it was shared. So this is the one we used for the shared folder earlier. So I'm in here. This is the submission time. And then Jot Form will send you what the actual whole form submission was, plus the actual image submission. I highly recommend that you would make 2 folders here, one for like submission and one for actual work, or maybe one for like submission and graded work, and you can move it to that graded work folder once you know you've graded it. So something to consider. Okay, so then how does this all look in here? Here's the weathering project. This folder was shared, which is this second option we did. Excuse me. This is the form we created, which creates its own upload folder here. And this is where our images are going to be from that Google form. Long story short, if your school does have a school Gmail account, use Google Classroom. It will save your life. Just use Google Classroom so I can live vicariously through you. If you liked this video, can you please give it a big thumbs up down below? It really helps me out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.